Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Teacher Raf. This is another episode of the Twilight Zone. Have you ever questioned the flag of the United States? Well, you should today. The United States civil flag of peacetime, the top one. You see this top one right here with the vertical red and white stripes? That's it. And it says, "We the people of the United States actually have two national flags, a military flag and a civil flag for peacetime. They have several important distinctions and meanings. Almost all Americans think of the Stars and Stripes Old Glory as their only flag, and it is beautiful. The Stars and Stripes originated as a result of a resolution adopted by the Marine Committee of the Second Continental Congress at Philadelphia on June 14, 1777, for use on military installations, ships, and in battle." Let me read that again. It was adopted by the Marine Committee of the Second Continental Congress in 1777 for military installations, you understand, and in battle, directing that a U.S. flag consist of 13 stripes alternating red and white, that a union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. Prior to, during the War for Independence, and after under the Articles of Confederation, smuggling was seen as patriotic duty of the citizens of the 13 independent and sovereign states. But after the ratification of the Constitution and the establishment of a new nation, smuggling needed to be stopped. The new nation depended on the revenue from customs, tariffs, duties, and taxes on imported goods in order to survive. In 1790, with the customs laws firmly in place, Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton set to work devising adequate means of enforcing the year-old regulations. A few armed vessels judiciously stationed at the entrances of our ports, Hamilton suggested, might at a small expense be made useful sentinels of our laws. Congress concurred, and that year appropriated $10,000 to build and maintain a fleet of 10 revenue cutters, which were to be placed under the charge of the customs collectors, whose responsibilities would be enforcement of the tariff laws. Along with financial responsibility, Hamilton demanded that the officers be servants of the people. They, the officers, will always keep in mind that their countrymen are freemen, and as such are impatient of everything that bears that least mark of a domineering spirit. 9 years later, Congress refined the revenue cutter's role in customs operations with the passage of the Act of March 2nd, 1799, known as the Customs Administration Act. In particular, Congress determined the cutters and boats employed in the service of the revenue shall be distinguished from other vessels by an ensign and pendant with such marks thereon as shall be prescribed and directed by the President of the United States. Additionally, the act permitted commanders of revenue vessels to fire at other vessels failing to respond after such pendant and ensign shall be hoisted and a gun fired by such revenue cutter as a signal. By this act, the Revenue Marine, later called the Revenue Cutter Service ensign, served as the seagoing equivalent of a policeman's badge, the distinctive sign of the vessel's law enforcement authority. Let me show you a little bit of something else, okay? There's a lot of details here of the history, and it's very important, but there's something else I really want to show you. Let me just scroll down to the transcript here, and it says everything I just read. It just doesn't have the photos in it. But let me just jump down here to a very, very important part of this, if I can remember. Okay, let me see where it is. Please be patient with me. Listen to this right here. Okay, here we go. So, I presume that her bosom has all the softness and smugness of an eider-down pillow. They're talking about the eagle, okay, on the flag. But she has no great tenderness, even in her best of moods, and sooner or later, oftener soon than late, is apt to fling off her nestlings with a scratch of her claw, a dap of her beak, or a rankling wound wound from her barbed arrows. Before 1940, no U.S. flag, civil or military, flew within the 48 states except in federal settings and installations. Only state flags did since the 1935 institution of Social Security and the Buck Act of 1940. By clever legal maneuvers, the feds have entirely circumvented the U.S. Constitution and have overlaid federal territorial jurisdiction on the sovereign states, bringing them under the Admiralty military jurisdiction of law, merchant, the Uniform Commercial Code, the law of creditors and debtors. Since then, the U.S. military flag appears beside or in place of the state flags in nearly all locations within the states. All of the state courts and even the municipal ones now openly display it. In the last half century, they have more openly declared the military admiralty law jurisdiction with the addition of the gold fringe to the flag, the military flag of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Such has been the path that has brought us under the law of the military flag. This should have raised serious questions from many citizens long ago, but we've been educated and we've been educated to listen and believe what we are told, not to ask questions or think for ourselves and search for the truth. The flag of peace, U.S. civil flags in 1919 at the end of World War I. Okay, so this is just citing what we were looking at previously up top with the pictures, okay? And then they show you another flag, Custom House on the Yukon River and so forth. And I'm going to point out something very important about the U.S. flag and the eagle and which direction the head pointed after 1919 and after 1945, and why an executive order was served to change the direction of that head. This is something most Americans are not aware of. So this is something you should be asking yourself, what is going on with the American flag? And why is it the military flag and not the peacetime flag? And how long has the military been at war with other factions around the world? This is something you may want to delve deeper into. I can keep reading, but really these are just historic details that if you're really interested in, you can look up on your own. Let me show you the website address here, so you can go here and read the rest of it on your own, studyrest.com/doc, and then you can see the rest of the web address here, okay, for your enjoyment. So this is supposed to be our civil flag of peacetime right here, the top one with the vertical lines, red and white stripes, and the bottom one is supposed to be the military flag. So basically, we have a military flag being flown all around the states, even when it's supposed to be flown on military installations and in only federal courts, not state courts. And it's not supposed to usurp state flags. Something to think about, people, and something to start questioning. Remember, ask questions. Don't just take in everything they tell you. Take care, be safe.